Hey y'all, Coach Alex from Maximize Potential coming at y'all with a great Wellness Wednesday. Today I want to talk about mind setting when we're approaching an intimidating lift, an intimidating task, or something that may just seem a little challenging to us. I'm going to go over a couple of things about the mind itself, how to take advantage of them, and a couple of different ways that we can practice getting into that type of mindset. But before we get into that, the new cold weather apparel has finally dropped. We've got sweatshirts, sweatpants, beanies, and a good assortment of hoodies. From now until Thanksgiving, we've got a 20% off on a good amount of these products. So go ahead and grab some before the sale is over. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link down in the comments below. Today we're talking about how to practice strong mind setting. So let's jump right into it. Most people often think of the mind and body as somewhat distinct of each other, but in fact there are direct physical links between the psyche and the soma. This relationship provides the basis for psychosomatic disorders and explains how the psychological state affects a person's physical state and state in subsequent performance. With this being said, it's very important that we're able to identify the type of motivation that drives us. But first we have to understand intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation influences a person's desire to train. This usually stems from a desire to be competent and self-determining. With intrinsic motivation, the person or task itself is a self-starter because of that individual's love of the training. Now, a large part of intrinsic motivation is achievement motivation. Achievement motivation relates to a person's wish to engage in competition. It's theorized that all people have opposing personality traits within themselves, one being the motive to achieve success, or MAS, and the motive to avoid failure, or our MAF. Now, our MAF relates to the desire to protect one's ego and self-esteem, while the MAS is more so intrigued by situations that are either uncertain or challenging. Though our motivation to avoid failure is important, we should be primarily MAS dominant. People who are MAF dominant actually may reduce their effort because of fear, because there may be a threat to their ego. While on the other hand, MAS dominant people may actually increase their effort in response to a challenge and not perceive it as a threat. So like I mentioned, it is important to have both of these things because we want to make sure that we are reaching realistic goals. But we don't want that MAF being the dominant one that we're always paying attention to. One tip that I can give us to make sure that we're more leaning towards that MAS is going to be speaking to yourself positively. This really does sound simple, but we are often too negative to ourselves for our own good. Though there is a time and place for negative reinforcement, it should be used sparingly, as you'll more than likely focus on the faults rather than the fix for them. Speaking positively or positive reinforcement allows you to focus more so on the task-relevant cues. Another great tip that I can give you is to set SMART goals ahead of time. Breaking up your large goal into smaller, more timely ones is a great way to increase your overall self-efficacy and confidence. Rather than being unhappy with your current state or results, celebrating each little victory along the way is going to do so much better for your psyche. The last and probably my favorite tip is going to be practicing mental imagery. The point of this is to imagine yourself achieving your goal. You can do this by mentally rehearsing a moment, imagining visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or even exertional cues. Many studies provide convincing evidence for the effectiveness of mental imagery in the enhancement of personal skill. As in any skill, this may take some practice beginning from simple to complex. So start with a relatively simple static image. For those of us who are in the gym a lot, think about a dumbbell or a barbell, just that still image. Then as the vividness and detail of that image or scene becomes clearer and clearer, we can start adding a couple of different things to it. Imagine the feel of the bar in your hands. Tighten specific muscles that you should be doing during practice. As I mentioned, the scene should become more and more vivid with continued practice. Now, some people do have a natural talent for achieving image clarity, but everyone can improve with repeated practice. Once you've successfully visualized a more detailed scene, you can start rehearsing successful execution of a skill during imagined competitive conditions. This can provide the subconscious mind with positive memories, thus increasing the person's sense of confidence and preparedness for this particular activity. But anyway, y'all, that's about all I got for us today. I just wanted to do a little bit of a conversational piece. So next time you have something challenging come up into your life, go ahead and try a couple of these. Like I mentioned earlier, the new fall gear is in. It's never been easier to stay warm and stay stylish while still getting your gains. Remember, there's 20% off across a lot of different items, so make sure to get some items while that sale is still on. But remember, y'all, this is always a conversation, so don't forget to like, comment down below something that you learned, any questions that you may have, or suggestions for future content that you want to see. But other than that, I'm Coach Alex. Y'all be good, drink some water, and I'll see you all in the next one.